A billionaire came home and his maid begged him to shut up. And the cause in the back of "On the way to go away you in surprise." Hi there. Welcome and welcome lower back. Do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe for extra uplifting testimonies. Now sit tight, relax and experience. The night had long gone on too lengthy. Chukwudi Okoro had been stuck at one of these charity dinners his business partners insisted he attend. A corridor full of well-polished speeches, purple wine that tasted extra of dust and sweetness, and men who measured wealth in imported watches and the wide variety of zeros in their donations. He had smiled, shaken arms, scribbled a fats check for an orphanage, and slipped out quietly earlier than midnight. By the time his chauffeur dropped him in the front of his glass-walled penthouse, Chukwudi only wanted silence. His shoulders ached, his head throbbed. He longed for a stiff drink, perhaps 10 minutes of peace earlier than collapsing into the mattress he hadn't touched in almost a week. The building changed into still alive out of doors, neon lighting flickering throughout the nighttime, carriers calling out the final of their roasted maize by the roadside, and the faint bursts of a far-off nightclub humming within the air. Inner, although his penthouse must have been silent, it continually was. However, the second Chukwudi closed the door behind him, someone grabbed him. A hand clamped across his mouth. His body stiffened, geared up to swing, ready to fight. He may want to feel his pulse hammering in his chest. "Do not make a legitimate," a voice whispered. A girl's voice, gentle, however trembling. He froze, listening. The voice was acquainted. He twisted slightly, and while she in the end pulled her hand away, he became sharply. "Zainab," he hissed. The brand new maid. The one the employer had sent weeks in the past, while the remaining one left without note. He slightly noticed her most days, dressed in her undeniable black uniform with the white apron tied neatly, constantly quiet, constantly cautious. But this night her eyes had been now not quiet. They have been purple, glistening, packed with something like fear. "What are you doing in my house at this hour?" Chukwudi whispered fiercely, tugging his tie free. "Please," she said, her voice low but firm. "Don't increase your voice." "Why shouldn't I?" His eyes narrowed, her chin trembled earlier than she spoke. "Because your son is sleepwalking. And if you wake him the incorrect manner, you could lose him." For a moment, Chukwudi thought he hadn't heard efficaciously. He stared at her. "My son." "Sure." She seemed down the hallway nervously. "It occurs each night. Approximately this time I've been staying back to manual him. This night he almost reached the steps." Chukwudi felt the load of her words sink in like lead. He hadn't been home sufficient to notice, not once. His boy, 7 years old, quiet, shy, became wandering at nighttime, and no person had advised him. No one, however, this maid, this stranger who had dared cover his mouth to guard the kid. Chukwudi's voice softened, "Without him, which means it." I failed to know." "No person else noticed," Zainab said, her hands tightening collectively. "I stayed lower back after my shift. I could not go away him like that." "You're no longer paid for that," he muttered. "I recognize," she answered really. Her calmness reduced him deeper than anger could have. For the primary time in years, Chukwudi realized his wealth hadn't offered him the one aspect that mattered, presence in his son's existence. And for the primary time, he noticed Zainab no longer because the maid, however, because the girl who were quietly carrying a mystery he need to have regarded first. Chukwudi sank onto the hallway bench, his feet stiff against the leather cushion. He rubbed his brow, looking to make experience of what a maid had simply advised him. "Why failed do you come back to me?" he asked, his tone lower now, almost pleading. She shook her head. "I didn't think it mattered to you." His chest tightened. The words stung. "I care approximately my son." "I consider that," Zainab stated, her voice gentle. "However, youngsters don't feel notion, they sense your presence." Her words pierced him deeper than any boardroom insult. "This night," she persisted. He walked beyond the stairwell, eyes extensive open, however still asleep. "I stopped him. If I hadn't..." She broke off, swallowing tough. "I stuck him simply in time." Chukwudi leaned lower back, watching the ceiling. The photo of his son standing at the edge of the staircase made his belly churn. Zainab stepped closer. "I know I should not have touched you the manner I did, protecting your mouth like that. You were protecting my boy." He reduced in. "I ought to thanks." She reduced her gaze. "I didn't do it for thanks." He looked at her nicely now. Younger, mid-20s at maximum. Her eyes told the tale of a person who had carried obligation long earlier than she entered this residence. You stated something in advance, he said slowly, about wearing this alone. I am used to it, she replied virtually. Chukwudi felt ashamed. He had notion cash solved everything. Nannies, non-public colleges, drivers. But he had changed into a woman who earned less in a month than he spent on a single dinner. And she turned into the one watching his son at the hours of darkness. He opened his mouth to invite more, however gentle footsteps cut through the silence. Each of them turned. A small discern seemed on the end of the hall, barefoot, eyes one or two closed. Daddy, the boy murmured. Chukwudi shot to his toes. Obinna, Zainab whispered quickly. Walk slowly. Don't startle him. Chukwudi bent, beginning his hands. Come right here, son. The boy stumbled ahead straight into his include. I used to be searching out you, Obinna whispered. Chukwudi's throat tightened. I'm right here now. And for the first time in a long term, he intended it. Chukwudi held his son near, feeling the boy's tiny frame suit so effortlessly into his arms. He hadn't realized how small Obinna nevertheless changed into. Too many late flights, too many conferences, too many nights, leaving him inside the care of strangers. Obinna clung to him as if afraid he could vanish once more. Zainab stood a few steps lower back, her fingers folded in the front of her apron. She didn't circulate, didn't interrupt. She actually watched, her expression soft yet guarded like she'd visible this second forming for days. Chukwudi rubbed his son's lower back gently. How long has this been taking place? He asked without searching up. Since I began here, Zainab answered quietly. 7 instances, usually after middle of the night, constantly pacing like he's searching out a person. Chukwudi shut his eyes, urgent his cheek against Obinna's head. The boy smelled faintly of shea butter and soap, a reminder of ways innocent he nonetheless become. He thinks I left him, Chukwudi murmured. Zainab hesitated earlier than speaking. I think he simply misses you. Chukwudi appeared up at her. It truly is now not the identical. She did not argue. She simply reached out to modify a photo frame on the wall. An image of Chukwudi and Obinna on the seaside taken years ago. The glass pondered the boy's tiny smile, a smile Chukwudi hadn't seen in a ways too lengthy. Zainab said, her voice low. While I was a toddler, my mother labored nights, lengthy hours, now and again jobs. I would wait by the door just to pay attention her voice while she got here lower back. I failed to need presence. I just needed to understand she turned into there. Chukwudi listened, his arms tightening round his son. Obinna is still waiting at that door, she endured. Even in case you don't see it. The burden of her words sank into him. He had been building wealth, chasing contracts, making an investment in day after today, whilst his son longed for something as simple as today. Obinna stirred in his hands, whispering faintly, Is it morning? Chukwudi kissed his forehead. Now not yet, son. Nonetheless night. You are safe. The boy sighed, his tiny palms curling into his father's shirt. Zainab sooner or later moved closer. He became conserving my hand earlier than you got here in, she stated softly. Every now and then it truly is the best factor that calms him. Chukwudi looked at her with something among gratitude and guilt. You've got accomplished more for him in 2 weeks than I've in months. You do not need to mention that, she answered. I do because it's true. For a moment, the penthouse felt special. Now not much like a residence full of silence and pricey fixtures, however like a home. Fragile, imperfect, alive. Chukwudi carried Obinna returned to his room. He tucked him beneath the blue covers, brushing his hands via his son's hair till the boy's respiration evened. When he back, Zainab became in the kitchen. Mug sat at the counter. Steam rose from one, the faint scent of ginger drifting into the air. She poured hot water into the second mug without asking. You want something heat, she stated. Chukwudi leaned against the counter, exhausted, however surprisingly wakeful. I might like to maintain you here. She didn't appearance up. It truly is your desire. No longer simply as a maid, he introduced. That made her pause. I want a person on this house who sees him the manner you do, who sincerely cares approximately him. Subsequently, she turned. You don't need to hire love, sir. You just want to be gift. Chukwudi did not argue. He handiest nodded. Then educate me. I need to study. And for the primary time in years, he wasn't making an enterprise deal. He was making a promise. The subsequent morning, daylight spilled throughout the penthouse ground-to-ceiling windows. The town outside had already come alive. Horns blaring, vendors shouting, the morning rush beating its rhythm. However inner, the residence felt exceptional. Chukwudi sat at the eating table, nonetheless in his house clothes, looking Obinna eat pancakes. He hadn't sat with him for breakfast in months. "Do you want them?" Chukwudi requested. Obinna's mouth became full, but he nodded enthusiastically. "Banana with cinnamon?" he mumbled. Chukwudi appeared towards the kitchen. Zainab glanced returned briefly, the faintest smile touching her lips before she backed to wiping the counter. Chukwudi leaned toward his son. "To any extent further, I will eat breakfast with you every morning." Obinna looked up, eyes widening in disbelief. "Even if you have work?" "Even then," Chukwudi stated firmly. The boy grinned, and Chukwudi felt his chest warm in a way no enterprise victory had ever given him. After breakfast, Zainab cleared the table even as Chukwudi helped Obinna get ready for school. It became awkward in the beginning, buttoning a shirt too slowly, fumbling with shoelaces, but Obinna laughed at his clumsiness. That chortle changed into well worth everything. While the driving force arrived, Chukwudi walked his son downstairs himself, conserving his hand all of the manner to the car. Friends glanced interestingly, unused to seeing the powerful businessman handling such easy fatherly obligations. He didn't care. Returned upstairs, Chukwudi determined Zainab folding laundry. She moved with quiet performance, like she had discovered to stay unnoticed. "I need to trade things," Chukwudi stated. She regarded up amazed. "Change?" Idea presenting cash turned into enough, that if I gave him the whole lot, he would not lack whatever. However, I was wrong. I want to be here, no longer only for display, for actual. Zainab studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. "Then begin small. Kids, take into account patterns, now not promises. Take a seat with him. Concentrate to him. Let him see your face when he wakes and when he sleeps." Chukwudi exhaled deeply. "You speak like someone who has lived this." She hesitated. He didn't press further, but the appearance in her eyes instructed him she carried scars he couldn't see. The day surpassed in another way. Chukwudi cancelled 2 conferences, Sudden his secretary. He spent the afternoon working from home, his computer open on the equal desk where his son generally did homework. The silence wasn't empty anymore. By means of evening, whilst Obinna back, Chukwudi became nevertheless there. The boy froze in the doorway. "Daddy, you failed to journey." Chukwudi smiled. "No, I'm staying." Obinna ran into his hands and Chukwudi felt a bond stitching itself again together, fragile but real. And inside the corner, Zainab watched silently, her heart full, however careful. Weeks surpassed. The penthouse now not felt like a resort suite. The laughter of an infant echoed within the rooms again. The eating desk bore crumbs and juice stains, proof of actual mornings. Chukwudi learned the rhythm of bedtime stories, the clumsy art of tying shoelaces, the persistence of watching for a toddler's phrases in place of rushing to conferences. Zainab remained constant, always gift, however in no way overstepping. She cooked, wiped clean, guided gently when Chukwudi fumbled. From time to time, late at nighttime, she would remind him of something small, test his homework or say, "He wants to expose you his drawing." And Chukwudi found out how blind he were earlier then. One evening, after Obinna had long passed to bed, Chukwudi found her at the door together with her coat. "Leaving already?" he asked. She nodded. "He is asleep. My work is completed." He hesitated, then spoke. "Zainab, thank you." She checked out him uncertain. "For what?" "For saving him that night time. For teaching me what it meant to be present." She shook her head. "You stored him yourself. I only kept watch till you got here." He stepped nearer. "No, you gave me back my son." The words hung heavy between them. She seemed down, her voice gentle. "He would not want a hero. He simply needs his father." Chukwudi felt the one's phrases settle in his coronary heart like truth carved in stone. From the hallway, Obinna's small voice referred to as Daddy. Chukwudi grew to become instantly, "I'm right here, son." He rushed again, leaving Zainab's status quietly by using the door. She smiled faintly, then slipped into the night. That night, as Chukwudi tucked Obinna in, he whispered, "I'm not going everywhere. Anymore, whilst you wake, I will be right here." Obinna's small palms wrapped around his neck. "Promise?" Chukwudi kissed his forehead. "Promise." And for the primary time in a completely long term, he felt like more than a man with wealth. He felt like a father. If this tale moved you, don't forget to offer it a like and subscribe for extra inspiring and emotional journeys. Tell us within the feedback wherein you're watching from. We treasure every message from you. Until we go back, stay tight, stay hopeful, and live with us.